Who are you without the masks? It sounds like a simple question, yet most people spend their entire lives avoiding it. We introduce ourselves through our roles, our achievements, our relationships, and our stories. But beneath all of those layers exists a deeper question. If everything external were removed, who would remain? From childhood, we learn that certain behaviors are rewarded, while others are rejected. We quickly discover which parts of ourselves are accepted, and which parts are better hidden. Over time, adaptation becomes identity. The mask becomes so familiar that we forget it was ever a mask. Psychology teaches us that human beings are social creatures. We naturally seek belonging and acceptance. There is nothing wrong with that. The problem begins when the need for approval becomes stronger than the desire for authenticity. Every mask serves a purpose. Some protect us from rejection. Some help us feel safe. Others help us gain recognition or admiration. At first, these masks appear useful, but eventually, what protects us can also limit us. Carl Jung believed that much of our personality is shaped by what he called the persona. The persona is the version of ourselves that we present to the world. It helps us function in society, but it is not the totality of who we are. The danger appears when we become completely identified with that public image. When the persona becomes the entire self, we lose contact with deeper aspects of our nature. We begin performing life instead of living it. Many people wake up one day feeling disconnected from themselves without understanding why. They may have success, relationships, or achievements, yet something still feels incomplete. Often, this feeling is the result of living too far away from the authentic self. The masks are not always obvious. Some people wear confidence as a mask. Others wear perfectionism. Some hide behind constant productivity. Others hide behind being endlessly helpful. Different masks serve different fears. The subconscious mind prefers familiarity. Once a mask becomes established, it begins operating automatically. The behavior repeats itself until it feels natural. Eventually, the distinction between the role and the real self becomes difficult to recognize. Identity is often built from repetition. The more frequently we behave in a certain way, the more we believe that behavior defines who we are. Yet repetition does not necessarily reveal truth. Sometimes it only reveals conditioning. Self-awareness begins when we start observing ourselves honestly. We notice patterns. We notice reactions. We notice the situations where we feel compelled to perform rather than simply exist. Observation creates distance from automatic behavior. The process can feel uncomfortable because masks are often connected to survival. Removing them may feel risky. The ego fears uncertainty. It prefers familiar discomfort over unfamiliar freedom. Yet growth requires courage. It requires the willingness to question old assumptions and inherited beliefs. It requires looking directly at the parts of ourselves we have spent years avoiding. Many hidden aspects of identity remain buried because they were once judged, rejected, or misunderstood. Rather than expressing them, we learned to suppress them. Over time, suppression became habit. The authentic self does not disappear when ignored. It continues expressing itself through intuition, dreams, desires, creativity, and moments of deep emotional resonance. It constantly seeks recognition. When people begin reconnecting with themselves, they often describe a feeling of relief. Not because they have become someone new, but because they have stopped pretending to be someone they are not. Authenticity is not about perfection. It is not about having all the answers. It is about reducing the distance between who you appear to be and who you actually are. The psychology of identity is ultimately the psychology of awareness. The more conscious you become of your patterns, beliefs, and motivations, the more freedom you gain to choose differently. Every moment of awareness weakens unconscious conditioning. Patterns that once controlled behavior begin losing their influence. New possibilities emerge where automatic reactions once existed. This is why self-discovery is not a destination. It is an ongoing process. There is always another layer to explore, another assumption to question, another truth waiting beneath the surface. Without the masks, you may discover strengths you never recognized. You may uncover values that were hidden beneath expectations. You may realize that much of what defined you was never truly yours. The world often encourages conformity because conformity feels predictable. Authenticity is different. Authenticity requires responsibility. It asks you to define yourself rather than accept definitions created by others. The most powerful transformations rarely happen overnight. They happen gradually through awareness, reflection, and conscious choice. Small moments of truth eventually create profound change. Perhaps the question is not who you want to become. Perhaps the question is who you have been underneath the masks all along. The answer may be closer than you think. The moment you stop identifying with every thought that enters your mind, a different perspective begins to emerge. You realize that awareness exists beyond the constant stream of mental activity. Thoughts come and go, emotions rise and fall, yet something within remains present through all of it. That presence is often closer to your true nature than the stories you repeatedly tell yourself. Many of the beliefs that shape a person's life were accepted long before they were questioned. They were absorbed through observation, repetition, and experience. Over time, those beliefs became invisible assumptions about what is possible, what is safe, and what is achievable. The challenge is that assumptions often operate quietly, influencing behavior without ever announcing their presence. As self-awareness deepens, life begins to look different. Situations that once triggered automatic reactions become opportunities for observation. Old patterns become easier to recognize. Instead of being controlled by unconscious habits, you begin responding with greater intention. This shift may appear subtle from the outside, but internally it changes the entire relationship you have with yourself. If this exploration resonated with you, subscribe to the Divine Woman Studio for more content on psychology, human behavior, consciousness, identity, personal transformation, and the hidden patterns that shape our reality. And if you are ready to explore these concepts on a deeper level, you can learn more about my protocol through the link in the description. The journey toward transformation begins the moment you become aware of who you are beyond the masks.